welcome to the Power to Build show. I'm here joined today with Bryan and Sam, my colleagues, but I'm one of the newest panelists here. Brief background about myself. My name is Marco. I work on the customer experience team as one of the sales and account managers. We help all of our builders with our Homeowner Central product and customer insight surveys. This podcast, we're really gonna get into some deep conversations and, focused on home building. However, we will be kind of giving you a behind the scenes look at everything as well from our view and our perspective at Constellation. Today I'm joined with Samuel and Bryan. Samuel's my colleague, as Bryan is as well. But Sam and I, we've worked together. Some of you may have seen us, visiting your offices. We've been friends from university, and I'll kick it to him to introduce himself.
All right. Hi, everyone. It's good to meet all of you. My name is Sam. I've been at Constellation now for 4 years. Pretty excited for this new episode of our podcast. Marco mentioned some key things we're going to talk about today with, BuildEx and the IBS Las Vegas show. We'll talk about some, key products, new key products here at Constellation. I'm just super excited to meet everyone, and I'll kick it over to Bryan.
Thanks, guys. Super excited to have new panelists with me. Usually, I'm the familiar face or that you guys are used to seeing. Again, my name is Bryan. I'm on the enterprise side of things. Like Marco and Sam just mentioned, right? Super excited to get this podcast going, and we thought, what's better than kicking off with talking about IBS, which is fresh in mind for everyone. We were there in Vegas last week, Sam and myself. Marco unfortunately didn't have the opportunity to go this time around because he did attend another event, but I'll pass it back to Marco to kind of set the agenda for us.
Yeah, no, thanks, Bryan. I was at BuildEx in Vancouver. Obviously with Homeowner Central we have a lot of customers in Vancouver, and I use it as kind of an opportunity to check out BuildEx, but then we also, visited a lot of clients there, and the market it's really interesting, and we're going to get into that. But just to set the stage for everyone, we'll talk a little bit about IBS. We did launch a new product, which is super exciting, NX. We'll get into that. I'll chat a bit about BuildEx. I also did, do some extracurriculars out in BC while I was there. So, some funny things happened, and we're excited to get into it. Bryan, Sam, you guys were at IBS last week. There was a record turnout, apparently 81,000 attendees. What was your guys' overall take back from the show?
It was great. I mean, I feel like every year they always say it's a record attendance, but it was really good. I feel like the whole time you're there, it's like demo after demo or meeting after meeting. You're always in some sort of conversation, which is great. I feel like that's what the whole purpose of this show is about, is, meeting builders, meeting different people, understanding sort of what they're doing there, whether it's they're just walking the show, checking it out, because obviously, it's in Las Vegas. It's a entertaining city in itself, but being at the show, being able to see all the different products that are there, different booths. I thought our booth this year was just phenomenal. Big shout out to Kathy Karen and the marketing team for setting that up. And then being able to just sort of come back now, settle in, begin your reach outs and setting up follow-up meetings is just great. It really sets the stage for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I mean, Sam, you pretty much summed it up there. It was a phenomenal show. Like Sam mentioned, we had a brand new booth this year. I know from a lot of the, familiar faces that come by our booth every single year, they were super ecstatic about our new look. Definitely was innovative. We've added in, a lot of different components to our booth. Overall, it was nice seeing everyone, right? Like I said, it's usually a lot of our customers stop by, so that's always nice to see. But beyond that, just networking with other people in and around the show, it was a good time. And it's Vegas, so that's Vegas is always a good time.
I thought it was really like this booth when we showed up this year. It felt like like Apple had like set it up. It was very like all like white. all
Yeah.
white and like, it looked very crisp.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool.
So,
Yeah.
Brian, I'm gonna ask you this because you're Mr. New Star, but
All right.
we launched a new product this year at IBS, NX,
We
the
did.
next generation all-in-one ERP for home building. Was there a lot of buzz around that?
That was the biggest, sort of highlight of the show. In, including with customers and builders that may be using other systems at this point. Everyone came by our booth and was just eagerly waiting to see it, right? Thankfully we had a lot of different demo screens there. At some point, Sam, if you can agree, we were just at full capacity where people were almost waiting in line, which was unfortunate, but we were able to kind of, have the chance to showcase the system to everyone. Overall, a lot of great feedback from it, right? It's completely been revamped. It was built from the ground up. It's an all-in-one solution, as Marco just mentioned, completely modernized, a lot more user-friendly, cloud-based, all the different buzzwords nowadays NX has. It's a
Brian,
full
what sets
encompassing
it
system.
apart? What sets it apart from other ERPs? I know you kind of
Yeah,
highlighted some just now, but what were some others that you kind of noticed and realized after presenting it to everyone?
it's the only true all-in-one solution, right? For builders, right? It provides everything a builder would need from what we like to say dirt to warranty. So it provides sales and design. It gives you estimating tools, purchasing obviously. So the whole production piece. It would give you scheduling tools, even mobile applications where your site supers can utilize on the field to update schedules, things like that. There's a touch point, which is equivalent tool for vendors to have access to the information as well. Warranty, with a full back-end accounting system. So it's the true all-in-one solution that's fully integrated, a single source of truth. And I think that's what sets NX apart from it.
And I think even just to add to that with like the property management,
Yeah, great
module,
point, Sam.
that's, with that being there and tied in with construction, I feel like that's something that we haven't really seen before. Especially with the accounting integrated, right? It's just a
Hmm.
seamless approach. So we'll kind of see what that when that begins to unfold and how that changes, builders' mindsets when looking into this instead of having, multiple different systems. Now it's like I don't think there's another system like that has the property management included in there with the accounting and all the other construction and home building tools. So especially when in this market that Marco, we've talked a lot about this when meeting with builders and developers out in BC and Vancouver. Just like portfolios are changing, strategies are changing. Um, Builders looking at it and changing to a lot more of like build to rent. This tool will just assist them and not having to, whether it's outsource and have bring in a third party company or bring in an additional software. This just streamlines that, so it's really exciting to see.
It's funny that you say built
Great
to rent
point.
because when I was out there and our residential volume home builders, they all call it built to rent. But when I was in Vancouver and I was chatting with some of our clients, I'm like, oh, so have you guys shifted, with the market changing to a lot of built to rent? This guy was like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, what do you mean, what am I talking about? He's like, you mean purpose-built rentals. So that's what
Built,
they
yeah.
call it there. And like, if I was like, what do you mean you don't know what it means? Like, it's pretty clear. Anyways,
Yeah.
we figured out what I was talking about. And then he answered, he's like, we had about 400 units coming online. Of those, 350 were shifting towards purpose-built rentals, and they're only keeping the 50 that they had originally sold as for sale. So they're just going to manage them and hire a property manager to kind of, oversee those units. So it's a big change. They were talking about how they get a higher density when proposing a project with the city if they are going to be doing rentals. So there's a lot of factors that come
Right.
into it.
For me, and it's the second time I've been at IBS. The first time was like my first ever show, so it was you know, quite a wake up call. Just being there. It's the booth or the venue is massive, and it's not just IBS. There's also like that other conference that's like tied to it. I forget what that one's called, but it's these two massive wings in this convention center. I think they say like, with both conferences included, they always say it's like 200,000 people, or something
Mhm.
crazy like that. Um, so, when people are walking around both shows, it's just, a lot to take in. You're constantly speaking to someone, you're constantly in a demo or in some sort of meeting. Obviously, being on the customer experience side, it's, Homeowner Central, like our warranty homeowner portal platform. But then we also have, the survey customer insight platform. So, being, the sort of the sole person there on speaking to both products and demoing both products, you're just always on the go. But it's a good thing. Like I will never complain, having
Yeah.
to jump into a conversation. You want that. So it was a great time. Obviously exhausting. So by the last day, you're just like ready to go home and just go to bed. So it was good overall, King.
Kind of shift it back a little bit. Um, I just wanted to highlight this because I know it's something a lot of people are going to have questions on, and it's Bryan. So you're obviously the New Star sales manager. You're,
Hmm.
sharing New Star with kind of North America,
Yep.
and with NX coming out, what would you say to a builder who is looking at changing ERPs and they're like, if NX is, just released, what would make me look at New Star compared to NX?
Well, New Star has been our flagship product here at Constellation for well over 20 years, right? We have quite the presence across North America. I think roughly the number is 320 builders across North America that uses New Star. So New Star is, here to stay. NX is just our next generation platform that we've built from the ground up, right? So it's fully cloud based. For builders that are looking for sort of a more modernized cloud-based solution. That's really the key difference. Both products are phenomenal. They work great for builders as far as streamlining their operations. Really, it just comes down to what builders prefer. NX is fully out and ready now. So I'm just excited to work with different builders and get them up and running on a system that they can depend on.
Awesome. And I
Enough
did want to,
about
yeah.
IBS. What happened at BuildEx, Marco? We missed you
Oh,
out there, but
Yeah,
you
let's
had a
yeah.
good time.
let's transition over to you a little bit, Marco.
BuildEx is cool. Honestly, like it's a different vibe. It's obviously a lot smaller, but um the Vancouver market is so condensed that no one attends for the full time, but they'll always peek their heads in like for a couple hours a day. So unless you're there all day, you can't really like see everyone that comes, but you can just kind of like set meetings with everyone and like, just meet at BuildEx. So that's what people do. And they're all just meeting there and they're just looking at it's like there was a lot of insulation and kind of energy efficient products this year. That's what it was geared towards. So it wasn't a lot of tech there. Um, but I found it interesting, but it's nothing compared to IBS. But what was cool about Vancouver was all of our kind of customers are in like a 10-kilometer radius. So you just walk down the street and you could check out, like I could go stop by, 5 or 10 people on my way to a meeting. So it's really cool in that regard. But I also, Sam, we always go to Vancouver and we're always looking at things to do, but we can never do anything because we're so busy because there are so many customers there.
Yeah.
This year Kim Clark reached out to me. Hey she's like, let's go on a hike. i'm like I'm like, all right, I'm down. I've never like been outside of the downtown core. So she took me to hike up Mount Seymour. My legs are still sore from it. We walked up
Nice.
with her dog, and it was actually hilarious. So her dog gave me a tug as I was like, Kim, I'll run up with your dog. Let him run a little bit. She's like, all right. So I give him a run. This dog took off and it pulled me, and I just face planted right into the ground. So it was actually funny. And I looked back, and Kim was just laughing at me. But it was cool. She got me spikes for my shoes so I could actually climb because it's like a very steep incline, and it was a fun time. It was my first time kind of venturing out, and she was great. She's a great tour guide. So thanks,
That's
Kim, if you're
awesome.
watching this. But to also shift, we're gonna be launching soon for Samuel and myself's product, Homeowner Central, a new campus community. So we're excited to have, all of our standalone customers have a platform where they can go on and network and connect with each other and kind of learn and ask questions with, their peers and on how to use the system. So we're excited about that. You should be getting emails from us or from our team shortly about it. But yeah, and I think we're
just to add there, not just Homeowner Central, Customer Insight as well.
Yeah.
So a full customer experience campus community. I know I've had some customers actually asking about that too. So it'll be good to set that up and create some excitement around there.
No, It's going to be great. We've had a campus on the enterprise side for a few years now, and just to see the activity, builders, customers talking to each other about best practices, things like that. It's going to be great for you guys on that front.
Awesome. Well, I think we're good to wrap it up, guys. I think we shared a lot, maybe a little bit too much about Sam, but hopefully he doesn't text me after this and get mad. But we'll chat again in a couple weeks, and looking forward to it.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care.